the original reason we went to Albania. The original reason we went to Albania to inspect the stuff was not because we thought it might be Chinese or anything like that. It was because there was this massive oil spike in fuel costs, and I realized at the time that the ammo was being, the way it was packaged was, it was in these metal sealed, vacuum sealed metal cans. These metal, they call them sardine cans, and those sardine cans were put in these heavy wooden crates. And we realized we could just remove the wooden crates and save us a bunch of weight on shipping, and that would lower the shipping cost. So we wanted to know what those crates weighed, and we didn't trust the Albanians to give us real information because, they were, a bunch of,
Yeah, they got their profit
non
margins to protect too. Yeah, for sure.
exactly. We didn't trust them. So we wanted to get to verify that information. That's why we sent Alex there to go and inspect the stuff and weigh the crates and weigh the metal tins. And that's when he discovered that it was Chinese.
Wow.
So we were originally planning to repackage it without the Chinese stuff. Well, we were planning on keeping the metal tins. But then we realized there were Chinese markings on the metal tins and Chinese documents inside the metal tins. And that's why we had to do a complete repack, which saved us some weight and some shipping costs as well. The entire repackaging operation cost us about $100,000, and it saved us about $3 million in shipping.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was a significant saving.
Gosh.
But for like the grenades, so I'll give you the numbers because that's what you were asking for. The aircraft load, from, obviously it depends where you're going to, how far it is, and the current price of oil at the time. I don't remember what the price of oil was at that time, but offhand, I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of where it is today. About $80 a barrel or something like that. But at the time, we were paying from Albania to Afghanistan about $120,000 for an aircraft load of 45 tons with an IL-76. It also depends on which aircraft you're using. The newer Western aircraft have a higher operating cost, and so we hired Eastern European Airlines, which were running the old Soviet IL-76 cargo planes, so it was a relatively low operating cost, and they had a cargo capacity of 45 tons. So we were shipping about 45 tons from Albania to Afghanistan for about $120,000.
How many runs did you have to make?
So each about like after it was repackaged, I think we've managed to fit about 2.7 million rounds into each aircraft. So 2.7 million was about 45 tons in the repackaged configuration. It would have been a lot less if we didn't repackage it. But we were also delivering other stuff, not just that small caliber ammo. We were delivering grenades and anti-aircraft rockets. And I remember the grenades, about 45 tons of them was worth about $2.5 million. So the $120,000 on a $2.5 million shipment is a way smaller percentage.
Yeah.
But the value of the small arms stuff was like about $300,000. So like a good third, a quarter to a third of the price for the small caliber stuff was going into shipping, and that's why we went, because we bid it at 9%.
Right.
It got to 20%, but that shipping extra cost overtook that profit margin. That's why it wasn't going to be profitable unless we repackaged it.
Oh my God. I just can imagine freaking out, going like, how are we going to pay for this?
Yeah.
There's got to be this remote. Yeah, there's got to be this moment where you're like, wait, what? How are we going to do this?
Yeah. We were thinking about, we were exploring all these different alternative shipping options. We were looking at doing it by ocean to Pakistan and then having it trucked from Pakistan to Afghanistan. But then we were told that is a terrible idea because there's large parts of Afghanistan and Pakistan that are run by warlords, and they're
going to steal your stuff. Yeah,
exactly. They would love nothing more than lots of ammunition that they can get for free.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to end up finding. Yeah, it's going to end up in the wrong hands.
Exactly.
Right.
Which, unfortunately, it did end up in the wrong hands, because after the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan, and all of our stuff, as well as all the stuff that they left,
Everything
all
else.
ended up going to the Taliban. Yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah.
is
So the
great.
Taliban has our ammunition, unfortunately now,
Which is so
along with
wild. Which is so wild.
along with all the keys and everything. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah,
Listen, I could talk to you forever about this kind of stuff. Um,
yeah.
I know it's already right. You're 3 hours ahead of me, but and I definitely want to be, conscious of the time difference. Um,
I appreciate it.
so we fast forward.
Mhm.
You take this guilty plea. Alex takes a guilty plea.
Yeah,
Um, Later on, Ephraim,
yeah,
I guess, right, takes the plea deal.
yeah. Just
Um,
like about a month and a half after we pled guilty, he also pled guilty to the fraud charge.
okay.
When he realized, yeah, he realized he at first wanted to fight it in court because he had many millions of dollars to do it.
Yeah.
Then he realized that he would be wasting his money and he'd probably get a worse sentence, and so he pled guilty as well.
And because there was no money made, there's no restitution, right, owed to the government.
Well, so there was a lot of money made. There was no money lost.
Okay,
So
gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
the way fraud sentencing works is that when you get sentenced for committing fraud, they give you some sort of prison sentence or whatever it is as punishment.
Mhm.
Plus, you need to make restitution to the victim,
Right.
right? And that's the financial penalty is the restitution. In our case, the victim or the U.S. Army, which we defrauded, did not lose any money because, I mean, in fact, if anything, they would have, if they had let us complete the contract, they would have saved $52 million
Right.
because we were by far the cheapest of their options. So the only loss that they can claim that they got from our defrauding them was the cost of taking the contract away from us and putting it out for bid to find an alternative supplier. And they claimed that cost them about $350,000.
Okay.
So that was the only loss that they can claim. And so when the government sentenced us, the only financial penalty was $350,000, which they made Ephraim pay because he was the only one with the money. And he's also the one who actually kept the money. But he got to keep the rest of the money. He got to keep, I think by the time they shut down the contract, if I recall correctly, it was about AUI had delivered about $70 million, I think maybe $67 million worth of goods out of the 300. And he made I estimate he made about 15 million in profit by the time they shut it down.
And
So he had to pay.
they did not go after that.
They did not. They did not.
And was
They
that
they
like a
have
conscious choice of
yeah.
theirs? Or like, well, we just
Well, I mean, it was they did freeze his bank accounts for a little while, so that money was frozen. But then after he got sentenced, they had no legal standing to keep it frozen
even
because
if
there
they're
was.
foreign bank accounts and not reported to the IRS and
So I don't know about the whole. So he told me that he had foreign bank accounts, like in the Seychelles Islands. That's what he told me. I never verified this. I don't. Maybe he was lying. I doubt it. But somehow as far as I know, obviously, I don't know what happened behind the scenes.
yeah,
But
yeah.
as far as I know, he managed to settle everything with the IRS. I assume he paid them what
Yeah.
they said he owed.
Yeah.
Uh, and he managed to keep the vast majority of the money.